Who has a 100-word summary of all the trouble you got into last week?
I have a one-word summary. Rats!
Killed Frank Sinatra and Rat Pack.
We did.
Oh, we saved a rat god.
Yeah, we saved these people's gods, and they're not the god, and they're actually not that grateful for it, apparently, which is kind of weird.
You ask them what cheese they like, and they get all offended. What's that about? Adrex has a favorite cheese, all I'm saying.
They're kind of racist against snake people, but so's Red, so he hasn't said anything.
That was a real scattershot summary.
But it pretty much covered all the bases. We met a bunch of different rat people in here, and they took our weapons because
Everybody takes our weapons. I don't think
That's
that's the name of the game.
you want our weapons too? All right, there you go.
we met an old man here who guards this hole because that leads to the under. Was it this one? Leads to the Underdark. And then we met a rat shaman who likes friendly, like tentacle monster people. I guess I don't remember exactly how she described it, but they're really friendly. And then we met
friendly dreamers, I think is what she called them, or something to that effect.
There was a kobold over here, and the kobold was very, very surprised to see Adrex because they're both white scales. He recognized Adrex.
Yes.
And then Adrex very dumbly stared at him.
Well, I mean, that's like Adric's default, right?
I know, but that's what you said. That's how you described it. I just dumbly stare at the kobold. Also, I gave a bunch of little toys to the rat children.
Yeah, Birdie is Rat Santa Claus now.
I can think of worse things to be.
Rat Santa. Okay.
And Wendy tried to. Wendy beat up a deer and drug it back to the front door.
It was a long night. Alright, so we'll pick it back up where we left off here in the Degdecarans.
Oh, there is one more thing. There was another snake man in here.
There was.
Yeah.
And he wanted to see Red.
Yeah. Raazu would have told Red about him at some point. I think I did, actually.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's get some actions for the next morning. What is Birdie doing?
I don't know. I guess just playing with the children.
And Adrex?
What race was the creature again? The white scale creature?
Kobold. He was an Erd.
He was an Erd. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Feels like
Adrix is bored now, so he's gonna go try to find the Erd.
Oh no. I feel like all important kobolds we meet are Erds. I'm starting to get a little jealous.
Birdie isn't important.
And Raazu.
So I'm actually kind of curious as to what is the deal with this pit up here.
So this area of the Warrens up here is living space for their elders. They have a council of 16 elder rats that make decisions for the Warrens.
Okay.
And day-to-day tasks that people have, I don't want to say little contact, because they of course are members of other families and they come from backgrounds and things, but you've only met two of them very briefly when you first arrived, and they tend not to mingle around out in the commons much. As for the big pit in the center, you have no idea what that's about.
Okay.
Go up to the elders and find out.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
And what is Red doing?
I guess we'll go talk to their snake man in a cage.
And Wendy is sleeping it off because she was out hunting all night.
Where is Red?
That is true.
Okay.
Oh, there. Thank you. Like 7-inch. Oh, it's somewhere over here.
Birdie. Make a perception check.
Okay. Rolling it back into the bag is not a good thing. So that would be a 13.
One of the tasks that the children in the Warrens have throughout the day is basically running water back and forth. Water is needed, obviously, in every aspect of ratfolk existence. And so this is a lot of what you spend your morning doing if you're running about with the children. They've assigned 1 or 2 ratfolk to be caretakers of the children, and they all have little buckets. They run up to the pool of water here, and then kind of scatter throughout the Warrens to where it's needed. And this is their task through most of the morning. What you learn is that the ratfolk use 2 different words for water. Essentially, water that's good to drink and water that's not good to drink. And you get the sense that there are other places in the Warrens that have pools or access to water that the ratfolk do not drink from. They do not take. And as yet, you're not sure why. But this pool here is predominantly where the water comes from. It's very fresh and cool, and it seems to be bubbling up from a spring from deep within the earth. So it's constantly replenishing itself. Adrex, you find Bad Ears the Erd back here in
Bad ears. Okay.
the Zirich Warrens. And pretty much as soon as you arrive, make an insight check.
That's not 20.
Okay.
There's no
What
in
is-
between with you. None.
What is Adrex's response to having learned that the Zirich, which is this kind of, not quite like a military caste, but these are the fighters of the Warrens, and one of their primary jobs is to go out into the world and basically be highwaymen. Robbers and thieves that are tasked with bringing treasure back to the Warrens, which wins them great renown within their society. What's Adrex's take on that? Especially considering his alignment is basically being evil sucks. Why would anybody be evil? Evil makes me sad.
I mean, until he's given reason otherwise, he sees it as he sees it as like, okay, they're trying to survive and they're trying to make the Warren a better place and more beneficial. So until Adrex starts seeing them hound like good people and innocent people, I think he's fine with it.
Okay. The Zirich come and go a lot throughout the day. They do always have a couple of guards stationed just outside of the cell. At least one of the 2 Zirich leaders, Sizz, who is the rat folk that you guys have interacted with, or his sister, Cheth. One of the 2 is always here, and often both of them are here. Upon arriving, Bad Ears the Kobold and a couple of the other rats seem to be leaving the area out through the south exit, and you're pretty sure your arrival is what spurred him to leave. He does seem to be avoiding you.
That's not going to stop Adrex.
So what do you do?
Adrex will tag along.
So you catch up.
Yeah.
Hey, buddy.
Adrex looms over him and just, I shit bigger than you.
That's very Adrex, yes.
Right. That was my best Adrex voice. What did you think?
It's really good.
And he says something to his two companions in the rat folk tongue. Turns around back to Adrex and asks what he can help you with. When he speaks to you, he speaks in Draconic.
Okay.
And it's pretty clear that maybe one or two of the Zirich have picked up some Draconic, but it doesn't seem like any of them are fluent in the language.
I just thought we'd get like to talk. You're the first white-scaled dragon creature I've seen in, gosh, it's probably years now. It's cool.
And he gives you this kind of quizzical look when you use the word cool to describe white-scaled dragon creatures.
Yeah.
Like he's trying to puzzle out whether you did that on purpose, kind of like what I'm doing right now with you.
I mean, Adrex is it's a shiny object. That's the only reason why he said it. It has its attention.
And you could tell it's a bit of an uncomfortable subject for him. Like you're like, peppy, hey man, I'm white, you're white power, huh? Like he finds it to be a little uncomfortable, and he kind of tries to shut down the conversation simply by saying that he left all that behind a long time ago when he came south.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
Do you give him any details beyond just me too?
Yeah. I mean, how old is Adrex? I mean, Adrex, they age like humans, so it was probably, I'll just randomly say it's like 10 years ago, a little more than 10 years ago now when I left. I just got sick and tired of all of it, you know? All of the, I'm evil, and get necromancers come and want to find the dragon. It wasn't really my thing, you know?
Do you mention any of your encounters with the metal men?
No, because that's not where Adrex's mind is right now.
Okay. And what was Adrex's journey like to the south?
It was harrowing. Like I described, like I originally described it, as he kept getting lost until he wasn't lost, and then would just get lost again and not think anything of it.
Right, and being
So-
lost is an adventure.
Yeah, it was often perilous at times. He didn't really have his quote ranger training at that point, so he was on the verge of death a few times.
Through the conversation, he speaks to his comrades. Again, he kind of dismisses them, and they head back into the Zirich chambers. And then in Draconic, he kind of pulls you aside, so you're kind of standing in front of this boulder here. He asks you how you made it out of the Northlands alone. How is it that you traveled such a great distance without assistance? And he's fishing for something. He's trying to determine whether you and he have this in common. But he doesn't want to reveal, he doesn't want to play his own cards. This is what happens when you roll a 20 insight. I tell you what's in the man's head, you know.
And Adrex he'll describe the adventures of he got lost and then something happened, like, yeah, and then goblins tried to rob me, but I fended all of them off. I bit one's head off and wound back right on the right path. And I think over the course of describing all of that, he would probably mention like, and then encountered these mysterious, weird metal men, which is actually why we're here now, and we're trying to find out like why they've come so far south, because I've never seen them so far south before. So we're working our way north to try and, you know, figure out any new information. And then
At the mention of the metal men, he gets really dour. Like, he's just this gloom on his face. He tells you... I don't have the name of Adrex's sire here, actually.
I do.
Oh, okay.
It is Dalris Daunth.
Dalris Daunth?
Yes. Thank you, fantasy name generators.
Okay. I took a stab at spelling that. Let's see how it goes. At the mention of the metalmen, he tells you with like a tinge of accusatory tone to his voice. He tells you that when the metalmen descended upon his tribe some years back, not quite as far back as you escaped. This would have been maybe 3 or 4 years ago. He tells you that the clerics in his tribe gathered everybody into their warrens, into their tunnels, and though they prayed diligently to Dalris Daunth, the dragon did not arrive to rescue them. His tribe was completely wiped out by these metal men, except for a few scattered survivors.
Oh.
And he's not telling you the full story, but he does confirm that these metal men are a growing threat in the north. He's holding something back. Dalris Daunth. There's no X's in that name. That can't be a dragon name.
Fantasy name generators is really fun sometimes. I'm sorry to hear about that. That sucks. Is that why you're here now? Because
he tells you that life among the rat folk is comfortable and prosperous, such as it is. He's grateful that the Warrens have taken him in. He'll never find a mate here or have a family or be a tunneler again or know the gleam of dragon's gold, but it's relatively safe. He has opportunities to ply his trade. He has a skill set, considering he flexes his wings when he says so, that the rat folk can make excellent use of. So he fills a niche that they otherwise wouldn't be able to fill. So what's next?
Do you... Well, Adrex isn't couth. Did they attack... Do you know if they attacked more than just your warren? Did they attack farther? They must have. Why did they attack?
He's not really sure. It was a very confused time, and the very few survivors of his tribe were scattered into the wilds. He decided, essentially, since your sire did not come to aid his tribe at all and let them be annihilated, he's turned his back on the White Worm.
Yeah, and Adrex totally gets that. Like, he's a dick. Like, most dragons are dicks. He totally cool with Adrex.
But then he posits you again. He says, so you had no assistance in your travel south. You made the journey alone.
Yeah. I mean, looking back on it now, got lost a few times and got some really close calls, but I eventually met up with the ranger, and he taught me how to range, and I'm a ranger now, he says, holding up an axe.
Note to viewers, Adrex is not a ranger.
He's totally not a ranger, but he likes to think he is.
His next character is going to be a fighter who thinks he's a wizard. It's going to be amazing. Cast fireball, throw an axe.
No, it's axe ball.
He's essentially just
Axe that
LARPing.
explodes into hundreds of axes that go every which way.
That's a really good character concept, though. And I actually kind of owe him my life, since he taught me like things about surviving in the wild and figuring out how not to get lost. That's a really helpful skill, by the way, not getting lost.
As you describe your interactions with this ranger mentor of yours, you can tell that he's starting to let his guard down a little bit. You see that, okay, so this is not a thing the two of you had in common. By whatever mechanism or whatever assistance he had in getting out of the Northlands and coming south, you don't share his story. This
Right.
is... And at that realization, you kind of get the sense that, like, okay, he doesn't need to feel you out anymore. He doesn't need to press this particular issue, but you can still tell he's hiding something.
Something. Okay.
And that's going to be about as far as you get with Bad Ears for now.
Okay. Well, it was good to meet Bad Ears. Might have more questions later, but where were you off to? Adrex asks
And he just
inquisitively.
lists his tasks that he has about the Warrens during the day.
All right, well, if you want any help, let me know. I'm gonna find some of my smart friends right now. And that Adrex actually says that. I'm gonna find some of my smart friends.
And immediately slips on a banana peel. I just picture that's how every social interaction ends with Adrex. At the end of the scene, he just walks away and slips on a banana peel.
Just a pratfall.
Star wipe to Raazu.
Starlight.
Raazu, as you approach the room number 8 back here,
Yep.
these are the Elder Warrens, living area for the 16 Elders. So this actual circle of stones in the common is actually a circle of 16 flat-topped stones for when the Elders convene or need to have open discussions with the rest of the Warrens. It's not a democracy of any kind, but the Elders, you come to learn, hold open forums, kind of similar to the one that you were party to in Asera Fall. Actually, you weren't, because you couldn't see Asera Fall at the time. It was
Raazu was standing in the middle of the table at the time.
it was a ghost town at the time.
Yep.
But as you approach the Warrens, a couple of the rat folk nearby, there's a ledge around each corner, here and here.
Mm-hmm.
And you hear bowstrings draw as you approach. And two of the rat folk scurry up to you and ask you to state your business at the Elder Warrens.
Raazu holds up her hands and says, "I'm just looking around. I'm not really searching for. I'm not searching for any trouble now."
I'm sorry, did someone say my name?
And the rat folk exchange glances, and you can tell they're not certain they believe you. And it begins to dawn on you that the time you spent in the Commons, you haven't seen many rat folk approach this area unless accompanied by one of the elders or taking up a post at the entrance. Like, approaching this place without due cause or announcement is kind of considered taboo in this culture.
Well, I'm not one to really rock the boat, but they want me to fuck off, then I'll fuck off.
Okay. Standing this close, though, you feel a breeze in this area. There is indeed a very deep pit in the center of the Elder Warrens. You can tell because it's labeled on the map, where it says pit, and then a big arrow pointing to what is obviously a pit.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't see it, honestly.
I don't know where Dark Pit is on this map. That was a Smash Brothers reference to the character Dark
I
Pit.
got that, Brick Road. I wasn't sure how to process it.
I mean, it's exactly the same as Pit. There's literally no difference. So
No, Dark Pit's black.
you can just change your color palette.
Wait, so you can play Dark Pit? I don't want to have this discussion. Smash Brothers is done. Standing this close to the Elder Warrens, you can feel this breeze. It feels like air is coming up out of this hole, just this slight breeze, kind of circling in this chamber. And there's something calming and refreshing about it. It's not the still stagnant air of the rest of the Warrens.
Raazu will
Make an insight check.
stare at the pit for a little bit. Insight. 14.
You tower over these tiny rat people. They're armed and you're not, but you can still tell that they're very, very unsettled by the presence of this gigantic hobgoblin. And if you attempted to force your way into the Elder Warrens, you're pretty sure they would not put up much of a fight against you.
Yeah, but at the
They're
same
doing their
time-
job, but this is kind of above their pay grade. They don't get a lot of hobgoblins.
So the elders are there any of the elders apparent right now, or are they all off doing their own thing somewhere where I can't see them?
So you've got this circular pit in the middle, and it looks like there's a common area around that, and then you see ledges and burrows and whatnot up in the walls. And up on those ledges or back in those tunnels is where you imagine their warrens are. Right
Okay.
now, there's nobody present except you and a couple of guards. The two you're talking to on the ground, and the two on higher ledges with bow and arrow.
I'll ask one of the guards. When do the elders usually hold a council?
And you're informed that they hold council anytime that there's something to discuss.
Raazu nods. Turn on her heel. Go back out into the comments.
And Red, you make your way up into the Zerich Warrens.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you find yourself speaking to Says, who's the primary member of the Zerich who speaks Common. And what do you tell him?
One of my companions told me that you had a prisoner that I should be speaking to.
And they go through pretty much the same rigmarole as last week with, so somebody wants to speak with the White Snake. And they give you the same warnings and whatnot. This does seem to be a game to them. They seem to enjoy having this malnourished and half-dead Snake Man prisoner back here. They do. They take you over to this ill-fitting iron door that looks like it was repurposed from somewhere else and placed in this entryway into room number 10 here. One of them gets out a set of lockpicks, opens the door, and it creaks as it opens up. And you're granted access.
Okay.
Looking in the back corner of the room, you do see a white-scaled Malison with snakes for arms. And he has his red, beady eyes. And he does. He looks like he's just had a devil of a time. Most likely, he's just not getting any meat.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks you up and down. What do you say to him?
Nothing. I was told to come here. I'm not gonna. Red has nothing to say to a random Yuan-ti.
After a few moments of awkward silence, he begins speaking to you in, I guess, parcel tongue, essentially.
Uh-huh.
He says he thought the Dragonling was half joking. When he was told one of your kind traveled with him.
Oh, which half?
He asks
Traveling?
you what tribe you hail from.
One of the southern tribes. Is it really that important?
He's regarding you very suspiciously.
Mm-hmm.
And after a few moments, he tells you, or rather he asks you, how is it that he of the Swallowers is locked up in this cell while you are allowed to walk free? Have you managed to fool them?
Right. So I did manage to fool them. When are the rest of the Swallowers going to show up? Which doors should I open?
So you're trying to bluff him?
Yep.
Make a deception check. Actually, make an insight check, and then make a deception check. I'll take both of those scores down.
Okay. Insight is a
37, 38.
no, only a 23.
Okay.
And deception. Ooh, that's not very good. Is only a 12.
12. Right off the bat, when you begin acting like, hey, I'm here to help you out and open the door to let the rest of them in, he sees through that immediately. And the reason why is pretty apparent. You're not of his same tribe. You're not one of these whiteskins. However, he kind of interrupts you partway through your inquiries. And he tells you that you've misunderstood his situation. He tells you that he's in exile. He's not part of some vanguard of some invading force. Although he has no doubt the Swallowers could take this entire warren if they so chose.
Then why are you exiled?
He tells you he's not sure that his explanation would make any sense to you. And when he says this, he has the same... You recognize the same kind of like self-loathing that you yourself have expressed of the Yuan-ti. The difference being he is of a much higher caste than you are.
Mm-hmm.
Being a pureblood, they're like the lowest rung on Yuan-ti society. He's a Malison, so they work as middlemen, enforcers. They can hold positions of prestige and power. Soldiers and captains. You're not sure what his particular forte was because he's kind of malnourished and naked in this cell right now, but you do notice that same kind of loathing in his voice.
Try me.
He tells you that he sighs. And he gives you a very blunt and short answer that he's sure you're going to just say, yeah, okay, I don't get it. And what he tells you is that his people discovered how to create a poison that should not be unleashed upon this world. And then he waits for you to be like, oh, but poison is the whole reason the Yuan-ti is here, and poison is glorious, and etc.
I mean, what did it do?
And he describes what you saw on the road. It's this bizarre substance that can get inside of a creature, usually vermin, small insects and rodents and things, completely eat away at their insides and then take control of the creature like some kind of bizarre husk. And he describes exactly the pattern you saw with the giant rats on the road north.
And how did you try and destroy it?
And he chuckles slightly and a little painfully and says that he didn't try to destroy it. He simply tried to escape from it. He wanted no part in this. He wanted no part in this destruction. So he left his tribe and was eventually captured by rat people. His story is neither as long nor as exciting as you're probably expecting.
And if one was to try and destroy the poison and whatever evidence was needed to reconstruct it?
He tells you that such a thing cannot be done.
Do too many people know the formula? Is it too well guarded?
What he means is, if I, a strong Malison, bred for war, am not capable of this task, you, a lowly pureblood of a foreign clan, would have no chance. And he says, besides, even if he had a mind to do it, he's locked up in here.
Can I do insight to see if this guy's lying?
You've got a 23 on your insight. As far as you can tell,
Same insight.
he is overcome with despair, but you can tell, like, there's resignation there. Like, he knows he's going to die in this cell, mocked by these rat people. And there's not much he can do about it. He did not seem overly concerned that there was this incredibly destructive poison had been concocted. Just that he personally, and kind of surprisingly, could not morally justify being a part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, no, I got that he wasn't, like, he was just, yeah, I figured that out.
What's next?
Well, I mean, upon hearing that, my initial inclination is that we have to find some way to destroy it, but if you'd rather sulk here in your cell, I guess I'll find someone else to help me. I'll knock on the door.
And he doesn't make any move to stop you from leaving. He slinks backwards, but you can tell that he's churning it over in his mind. Like, this encounter did not at all go the way he was expecting. And the Zerich let you back out of the cell, and there's oohs and ahs as you come out from your encounter with the white snake.
How long has he been in here, and where was he captured?
Are you asking Says?
Yeah.
He tells you that their borders stretch into the mountains, a considerable distance both up and down. Basically, there's lots of little holes throughout the borders that aren't on this map that would be difficult for medium-sized creatures to get into. And he tells you that he had managed to wedge himself into one of these little tunnels in such a way that he could no longer move. Like, his shoulders were sandwiched in, and he was unable to move. And they have no idea how long he'd been stuck there, but as soon as they discover him there, they pelted him with rocks and dung, and then eventually wedged a net around him, very cruelly dislocated one of his shoulders to get him free and dragged him back here and put him in the cell. This was maybe a month or two ago, a couple of turns of the moon.
I have to talk to my companions.
Right, what do you say to your companions?
All right. So you know the scorpion we fought on the way here.
Raazu nods.
You know the poison that the scorpion used to turn the rats into some sort of not quite living things.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, the Yuan-ti they have in captivity claims that the swallowers made that, and that he wanted no part in releasing it upon the world and was exiled for it.
Okay.
The
Now we know he's telling the truth.
cow.
I'm pretty sure he's not lying. I think I would have been able to read him. He might have been able to bluff me, but as far as I can tell, he was telling the truth. Further, that poison was pretty monstrous, and we should probably figure out where they are and how many of them there are and come up with a way to destroy it.
Considering Red's moral compass of cold hard logic, is there such a thing as a poison so monstrous it can't be allowed to exist?
Yeah. I mean, this is a gray this is a gray goo level problem if it affects living creatures like this.
Okay.
You're basically looking at like a Class 7 zombie apocalypse.
Right.
But how does a scorpion get it?
That's a good
They
point.
breed the creature for it, I guess. I mean,
You said they could put it into vermin primarily.
Ooh.
I didn't ask for the details.
Well, we didn't actually kill the scorpion, so I'm wondering if the scorpion was already, like, they just injected it, and it was already, like, a giant, I don't know, scorpion sack? Is that the
well,
correct
if it
word?
was injected for it, if it was injected with it, then wouldn't it have turned out just like the other, like the rats we fought?
Were you guys having this conversation in the Warrens?
I don't know.
I imagine somewhere in the commons, kind of off to one side, probably.
Okay. And what's next?
Well, like, so what are you wanting to do about this? You want to go and take us somewhere dangerous again?
We should really stop them. That sounds really bad.
Red, please. Like, you're always on my side in this. Can we just, like, I don't know, go around?
If we go around the poison this time, and then on the way back we go around a wider circle for the poison next time, eventually we'd have to go around all of the north.
I'm okay with that.
If it's really as bad. So you want to live with the humans in the south?
Yeah, I'm of the mind that something like this needs to be nipped in the bud.
I thought you meant, like, the when you said north, I thought you meant, like, up there.
No.
Oh, that would be bad. I keep my stuff here.
The further north.
Well,
I mean, I can see if I can... I left him maybe stewing a bit. I can see if I can go in and get some more information about him. If maybe it might do good to have him... Get him... Some time might give him give us better options to get information out of him, though I think we'd probably need to feed him to do that. I don't know that we could convince the rat folk to do that.
well,
The rat folk may also know more about the swallowers here, but I don't know that they know specifically what we're after.
since we're also in the situation that I wasn't expecting, where now we're going to run into unimaginable... I should have expected this. Like, maybe we should also go speak with the shaman rat lady, because she said that they foretold us coming, like the friendly dreamers. Maybe we should find out what they told her, and maybe they can give us some information if they're actually friendly and not horrible demon creatures pretending to be friendly.
Which ones? The dreamers?
Yeah. The rat lady said that she was given a dream, I do believe, announcing that we would be here. I could be misremembering that, though, but I think that's true.
No, that's correct. She expressed her gratitude to you for something you haven't done yet.
Right. Maybe we should go see what thing we're supposed to be doing. Maybe it's that, and maybe we can get additional help. And not end up in a situation where we're all going to get eaten and turned into giant goo bags.
And
Well,
probably come up
now I'm
with
changing all these stat blocks to read goo bag.
That's like I don't know what the monster is called. I think you told us, but I'm just gonna call them goo bags.
That's fine. That's perfectly cromulent.
He's not wrong.
Also, you should talk to him some more to see if we can't figure out some sort of vaccine or at least an antidote. Adrex says, putting on his medicine hat.
Well,
Maybe you should go talk to him about that.
we do have Raazu, but yeah, getting a couple of doses of antidote would be fine if we could create such a thing.
Yeah, my
anti-venom.
poultices can only go so far in dealing with this. We were just lucky that it was just Adrex that was infected by it.
Ideally,
before.
a vaccine would be preferable because then we could get hit with it multiple times and not have our liquids turn to goo. That would be very preferable, actually, as I say it out loud.
I'm almost disappointed at this point that I didn't get hit at all during that fight because I'm not sure if I'm immune to this sort of poison.
Okay,
Well-
so I'm going to go talk to the rat lady. Stay or go?
I'll go with you.
Okay, so you're all going to go and converse with Frelish, the witch and the herbalist.
That would probably.
Relish.
Then we could all go speak with this guy over here when we're done. We could all go together. Maybe we can impress upon him how dangerous, how awesome we are.
And when you find Frelish, she's in this area of the commons, attending to one of the rat children who stumbled and skinned their knee. She's applying a bandage when she sees you all approaching. She stands, smiles very brightly as you come forth.
Raazu, could you heal the kid's knee?
I mean, Frelish has already done that. That's her
she
job.
put a bandage on it.
So you need her help with something, and the first thing you're going to do is upstage her.
Oh, yeah, no, Raazu is very much of the opinion that if the child is gonna grow strong, then he needs a few hard knocks.
And also needs to be a hobgoblin.
That helps too.
Have you tried
Anyway.
being a hobgoblin?
No, you just sound like Nodal.
Well, he's not here, so I have to do something there.
Have you tried being a hobgoblin monk? Okay, so
Okay, changing my character concept for the next campaign.
Madam Frelish, can you please go into greater detail about what we discussed earlier about the friendly dreamers? What did they tell you we were going to do exactly?
She tells you that while she has a conversation with you, she sits down on one of the stones here. And she has a little stone mortar and pestle where she's putting some luminous material into, along with a small quantity of water that has a very... She starts stirring and crushing tiny seeds into it, which gives it a very strong, almost overly sweet odor. And as she's mixing this poultice together, she tells you that the dreamers don't tell her things. They show her images that she has to piece together from the shapes and the colors in her dreams. Sometimes the images are more vivid than others. Sometimes they're made of smoke. But yours was particularly clear.
Okay. Your best guess then. What are we supposed to do?
She describes the images she saw as two sides of a coin, which she interprets to be two possible futures for the Warren. In one, the Duchess, Geely, arrives at the Warren to find that a great battle had recently been fought. And she'd come to administer comfort
Succor?
to the Warren as it's rebuilding. And in particular, she met with a group of heroes that shouldered much of the fighting. And she describes you lot. The other side of the coin, Instead of Geely coming back to the Warrens, they are instead visited by the Duke, Naramok. I'll let somebody make a religion check as she goes through this.
I got religion trained, so that's
Okay.
probably going to be me. Someone's got something better.
No.
My hand smells kind of like poop.
Oh my god. That's some old school Penny Arcade reference,
It
man.
is.
That's like
It really is.
1998.
Still one of my favorite strips because I really don't like Penny Arcade anymore. But
That's a 23,
Check.
so
23, okay.
Osprey plugged a lot of shit in Raazu's brain.
The rat folk revere two living gods. The first is the one you met, Geely, the Duchess of Rats. And then her mate is Naramok, the Duke of Rats.
Mm-hmm.
As Frelish discusses the infrequent visits, either Geely or Naramok will come to the Warrens on a pilgrimage. And she kind of speaks of them as being aspects of the sun and the moon.
Okay.
Geely, representing the moon, is meek, clever, and swift. Whereas Naramok, representing the sun, represents harshness, ferocity, and survival against all odds. It's
Okay.
not exactly a good-evil dichotomy, but that's the closest thing the rat folk have.
Makes sense, but it seems like they would need both to survive.
Essentially, the story she tells you, what she put together from the images, is there's going to be a battle in or near the Warrens in the near future. One set of images, the heroes fought in this battle and succeeded, in which case Geely returns to the Warren to offer a time of peace, to heal the wounds that have been inflicted, but the Warren perseveres. In the other set of images, the heroes either choose not to fight or are defeated, and Naramok, the Duke, comes and surveys only destruction of the Warrens, and none are left alive. Those are the images given her by the Colorful Dreamers.
So no no indication like what, just you only see the aftermath of the battle, right?
She only described images from the aftermath, yes. The actual nature of the threat, she doesn't have specifics on. She also doesn't seem particularly worried about it because, I mean, obviously you are the people that the dreamer's showing her and you're here now, so there's nothing to worry about.
So what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to ask her what condition were the bodies in the bad future,
And
because we have a very clear indication of whether or not it could be the goo bags, because the bodies would then be empty.
she tells you the bodies were lifeless, with no movement. And
As
make
most dead bodies
a-
usually are.
Birdie, make either a nature or religion check. One of the two. You can pick.
Nature that's the 13.
A 13.
The second two I rolled today.
When she describes lifeless bodies of rat folk littering the Warrens, she thinks it's particularly odd. Because in the world of rat folk, if you're defeated, it's because a predator is eating you. Why would something go to the trouble of killing you and then not
Not
eat
eat
you?
you.
And that's something that I think Birdie can probably...
So
Something being cruel for cruelty's sake, then.
I don't think it's the goo bags, because then the monsters would then, join. Well, there would be walking goo bag rat men.
And at this point, she upends her mortar and scrapes some of this sweet-smelling substance out onto a rock, divides it into thirds, and begins adding different coloration to each pile.
You have the craziest dreams, man. Usually when I dream, I'm naked and standing in front of a bunch of people giving a speech. And yours are incredible. Also, I lose my teeth a lot in my dreams.
What the hell, man? I'm only gonna ask this because Wendy's not here. But what you cooking there?
She tells you this is a medicine called glow snot, which is very much what it looks like.
What does it do?
What's it do?
She says that she doesn't recommend partaking from it because it's essentially a sleep aid. What it does is it quiets the images in your dreams. If you take this substance, then you'll have a restful sleep without any dreams.
And do you do this to keep the dreams out? Is that why you're using this stuff?
She laughs. This is absolutely not. In fact, she wouldn't even make this substance if the Zarich didn't order it of her.
The who?
The guard, the bandit, the bandit.
Ah,
the Zarich asked for this.
She tells you that their foundling Kobold has vicious night tremors. And this helps to quiet his sleep.
So, from a purely academic standpoint, that has nothing to do with me wanting this to potentially slip into somebody's food later. How fast does that make someone go to sleep?
It doesn't make you go to sleep. It's just when you go to sleep, you will not be awoken by nightmares. Well. It doesn't put you to sleep. It just makes sure that you don't dream when you do sleep. Make an Arcana check.
That would be a 22.
You don't see any poisoning application for this. You're not gonna slip into somebody's food and knock them out. But there may be magical applications for this. If you were to take this drug, you would be unable. Outside forces would be unable to infiltrate or communicate with you through dreams, which is something you've had some experience with.
The quintessence. So we've had dreams ourselves in the past, and at times we kind of just struggled to divine what their meaning is, but I know we've had dreams in the past of a silvery body in distress of some kind. Does that ring any bells for you?
She has no idea what you're talking about. She scrapes these three colors of glow snot together, keeping them mostly separate as she folds it into parchment. She licks the edges of it to kind of fold it over and seal it. She hands it to Adrex. She says, "You seem to be on good terms with the Kobold. I would ask you to hand this to him. I personally don't get much from his company."
Got it.
How much of it does Adrex eat immediately?
He's tempted. He's tempted to just lick it. But no, Adrex is on his best behavior.
It's the doctor in him. Doesn't want to mess with the dosage.
And with that, Frelish tells you that she's going to be making her rounds about the Warrens, but it was very pleasant to speak with you all on the topic of dreams.
Right. Thank you. Giving us
And it all just kind of clicks in Adrex's head. Oh, he's having nightmares. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Welcome. Thanks for catching up, Adrex.
No, this is for... And Adrex realizes he has to tell everything about what he's learned, and he's like, forget it.
Okay.
You're terrible at misdirection.
Do you guys have anything else for Frelish? before we move on?
I do not.
No.
Okay.
No.
What's our next stop?
What do you guys think? The Kobold or the Snake Man? I'll let y'all decide. I don't care. Or somewhere else. I'm easy.
I mean, let's go talk to the Kobold first.
Yeah. Since we have this medicine for him.
Are you all four of you going?
Why not? Sure.
I would think maybe we should talk to some of the rat folk leaders to see, or maybe their military leaders, to see if any of them know where the Swallowers' strongholds are, and how many of them get some idea of what we're trying to get into here.
Sez and
Fair
Cheth
enough.
would be the closest to the military leaders as this warren has. They don't really have a military as such. They're basically bandits.
The other thing might be to talk to the Duchess herself and see if she has any opinions on this discovery.
Sure. Yeah, let's I guess I'll go speak with Sez.
Okay, so Raazu's gonna go speak with Sez.
Yeah.
I will go
Yeah,
talk to the
okay.
Duchess.
And what are Birdie and Adrex doing?
I'm going with Adrex.
Yeah, we're gonna go deliver some medicine.
Maybe my presence can soothe the Kobold since I'm not threatening.
Okay.
He likes me.
You're also like 20,000 feet tall and kind of scary looking.
I'm not scary.
Well, I mean, not when you have your finger up your nose. You're not. Maybe do that some more.
Does Adrex ever pick his nose and go too deep and he comes out and his finger's just an ice cube now?
Yeah, that's a thing now.
So a little frost comes out. Yeah.
Red, there's not going to be a time where you're going to have the Duchess alone to herself. She's always swarmed by various rat folk. What seems to be happening a lot is people will come up and be giving her little tributes, like little gifts, just little trinkets and things made with bits of wood or cloth or string that she accepts graciously. However, she does speak Common, and most of the rat folk don't.
Okay.
So where do you approach her at? Where in the Warrens?
Is there a time when she's less swamped with people than others?
Not really, because she's only going to be here for maybe a couple of days, and during that time, pretty much everybody in the community is going to have some FaceTime with her before she moves on to the next Warren.
I'll just go immediately wherever she is right now.
Okay, so you catch up with her nearby to the pool about midday, as some of the workers are taking their midday siesta and coming over and paying their tribute. She looks delighted to see you.
So I've discovered some troubling things about the creatures that were attacking you from the snake, from the other Yuan-ti you have here in captivity.
To which she corrects you that her children have captured this Yuan-ti. He is no prisoner of hers.
Sorry. Not entirely sure how the socio-political implications of living godhood work out here.
She says those are very big words.
At any rate,
that's an erudite guy.
At any rate, could you describe any more about the fight that your servants had when you were traveling with that scorpion? The scorpion itself, or how long it took, and what the signs were that the rats started to attack you?
She tells you that the battle with the scorpion was over very swiftly. Didn't take long. Her rats basically overpowered the thing, but one of them was slain in the battle, and most of the others had been stung at least once, what she perceived to just be minor injuries. And make I'm gonna have to call that a religion check.
I think that's a 9. Religion is wisdom, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, 9.
A 9?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah, that just seems weird to you because even just a regular giant scorpion's venom would be deadly for a rat.
Mm-hmm.
Like the idea that a couple of rats could take a scorpion like that and get stung and not suffer, you're not sure that washes with you. You don't understand how that would work. But she describes one of her rats as being slain, the rest of them as having been stung. She wasn't worried about it until they started to turn a ways up the road.
How long did that take?
Instead of just telling you the time, she starts describing the journey in terms of like landmarks she passed, rivers and mountains she's seen during the trek, and it's like you're trying to ask an atemporal being about time and not getting a satisfying answer, and you realize you probably would have not gotten a good answer from Kyung Zhao or his ilk either.
And have any of the people who've come here to, that you've been administering to here in this warren, spoken to you of any similar sort of thing? Any other vermin or that caused something like this, or any other creatures that they needed to kill with anything like that?
She tells you that when her people encounter such dangers, they do well to give them a wide berth. This is why they have claws with which to scamper up trees, or delicate noses with which to get them to see them into dark burrows where enemies can't follow. For dangers are many and their strength is small.
And none have told you specifically about hiding from those sorts of things?
No, these creatures, as far as she knows, were a unique singularity out in nature. Like you have to remember, these rat folk, they sent hunters out. These hunters weren't even capable of taking down a stag on their own.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think that's about all the information I can get from her.
She tells you that come moonrise tonight, she'll be taking her leave of the Warrens and continuing her pilgrimage over to the next village, wherever that may happen to be. However, it seems that the people here have taken more or less a liking to you and yours.